What the heck is your cat doing?
Making sweet, sweet cat love to your shoes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gaming Tangents podcast. Woo! Yeah, you kind of noticed I'm kind of missing somebody today. My co-host Menji is not here. He is on assignment, and by assignment I mean going to Japan to visit family. So today I bring to you a special guest by the name of Sarah. Say hello, Sarah.
Hey guys.
How are you doing?
Doing good. And he's lucky to go to Japan. That lucky mofo.
Well, he's been there quite a bit, so he speaks the language and he's got a little advantage over us. So, yeah. But tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, well, I work like every one of you people.
Mm-hmm.
I work for a living. I am an artist, 3D animator, gamer, artist, bunch of labels. I'm starting a podcast and YouTube channel soon called the Media Outbreak.
The soon-to-be popular Media Outbreak.
Yeah, apparently. But we're going to be talking about all sorts of things on there, from news to games to all things popular. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm black-ish.
You're black?
Ish. Half black, half white.
Oh, okay.
African American.
Why didn't you tell me this?
I'm sorry, Eric. I thought you knew.
No.
I'm sorry, I can no longer be on this podcast due to...
Yeah, you cannot, no. But, anyway, so it's going to be the soon-to-be popular Media Outbreak. And today we're probably going to discuss a couple of things, mainly... Well, we will get to our main discussion here soon. First, normally we start out with what we talk about, what we're playing lately. And what have you been playing?
Until Dawn. And it's been extraordinary. I basically killed half my group.
Nice.
I only have, I believe, 3 people left. So I realized that I love horror games, but hate them. It's like running. You love the results, but you hate to run. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly like that.
Well, if you have PS Plus, you should try Resident Evil 7.
God, that sounds amazing. But I'd probably never play it alone.
Oh.
Like, I'd have to have someone in the room with me at all times.
You have to play it alone, though. That's the fun of it. You play it in the dark, alone by yourself, after some creepy shit happens outside.
That's not what you do. That's how white people die.
Oh.
In every horror movie, they go and check out what the sound is, and then they die.
So you're telling me the white half of you is going to die and do that?
Probably.
So, but what's the black side of you going to do?
It's probably gonna be like in every movie theater, they're like, "Don't do it, don't go," and then the white side of me will be like, "Oh, it's fine. It's probably just a raccoon. Just go check it out." Oh.
Oh, there you go. So you'll just be sounding like you're talking to yourself. You're going to get killed anyway, because they're going to be like, or they're just going to be like, what's going on?
It's like, has she lost her marbles? What is she doing? She just played Until Dawn, and then she heard a noise outside and went to go check it out.
I've been playing King of Fighters 98 with my son. Been playing
So,
it.
well, I
more
have
or less
not been
nonstop
playing
when
much
he's
of
there
anything
because he's in love with that game, and I created a monster with that. But I finally had a chance to play Grand Theft Auto 4, which I have had for several years and never touched it. And now I know why people hate on it so much.
Why do they hate on it?
I don't know. The controls just don't seem right. And after playing Grand Theft Auto 5, I've seen kind of spoiled by Grand Theft, by the control scheme and whatnot. So it just makes it a whole lot, that much more difficult. Like the maneuvering of the cars, I don't know if it's my control or what. But
for me, it's finding those like hidden weapons. Like, I believe one was a very phallic type of weapon that I found at a police station.
Nice.
And I was like, I guess I'll kill people with it?
Isn't that in like, what's that other game? The one that's like Grand Theft Auto? Saints Row?
Saints Row is just so messed up, though. Like, there's a period in time where you get really high as the character, and you think everyone's aliens, and you start shooting people. I think that's the same exact game, hopefully. That's what I'm thinking of, but it's a really messed up game. But yeah, there's a lot of very inappropriate things in Saint Row, so not child appropriate if you're thinking, oh, my kid will love this. No.
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll be playing that one anytime soon. Alright, so have you heard anything in gaming news recently? Because I have not.
I haven't been paying attention as much as I should have, besides virtual reality. And I think it was PlayStation that was going around different stores and trying out virtual reality. People would come in and they'd get to try it out. And I think it was the Geekery Collective that did a video on it. And it was really, really cool. He said it was immersive. And that's what I want virtual reality to be. If we're going to go in that direction, I'd rather it be fully immersed than just like, oh, I can kind of see things, but apparently you can turn around, you can look up, down, everywhere. It's just fully immersed. I think it'd be better if they had some kind of like controllers for the hands, maybe.
Right.
But I'm not sure if they've developed anything. Like, they could maybe, like, for the PlayStation, use those little wand things with the ball on top that lights up.
Oh,
with
the moves?
Yeah, the moves. I don't know how they would do it with Xbox, but yeah, I hope virtual reality does good things.
Well, Xbox had, was that the one called Oculus Rift? No, Oculus Rift is its own thing. What is it called? HoloLens. They had HoloLens. I don't know if you remember E3, not this year's E3, but last year's E3. They had a demonstration of Minecraft, and I guess he had gloves or something, and he had the HoloLens goggles and whatnot, and he was actually like picking up stuff on this table, and it was actually displayed on there. Like people could see it. It was on a specialized camera or whatnot. And he was just able to move things around like he was actually picking this stuff up. So, I mean, that looks more expensive.
Yeah, I don't think everyone could afford that in like their everyday household.
My son's asking for it, and I'm like, no, you gotta go to college first.
He'll be in college probably before that's ever released cheap enough.
Right. So, I don't know. I still not sold on virtual reality. It's not necessarily my thing, but if it's gonna be one of those things where like it does seem like everything around you is actually happening, because I mean, have you seen the video of the reactions of people?
Oh yeah, and some people it affects very differently too, because some people it makes them nauseous because their body's not moving, but your brain thinks your body is moving, so it's like this horrible unconnected connection between it, and your body's like, nope, this is not what? How are we doing this again? And then your body's like, okay, time to make you physically ill because you're not moving, but it looks like you're moving.
Right.
So.
Well, that's the thing. I think video games are gonna eventually go that, or they're gonna try to go that route. I don't know how successful it's gonna be. I mean, can you imagine having that on and actually walking around in an empty room?
I mean, Japan's doing it with crap. It's from whatever that statue's from. Anyway, they're doing it with that particular game. I guess they're gonna use virtual reality, and you're gonna be submerged in the world, and you're gonna fight in that way. They're trying to do that. I think it'll actually probably go far in video games, but it also depends on different people, because different people will definitely be affected differently. I mean, we're all human. Some of us can't even play video games without having a panic attack. Me. So.
Good job.
Yeah, I know. That's what I get for playing zombie games.
Well, I remember trying virtual reality way back when it was still like you put the goggles on, but it was like polygons.
Oh yeah.
And everything like that, and it looked like it looked worse than a PlayStation 1 game. And I just remember it was some game where you stood in some kind of circle and you looked around, and there were these pterodactyls, because I guess pterodactyls are easy to make in polygons. And you had to shoot them. And
oh yeah, it's a lot better now.
Yeah,
like, a lot better now.
Yeah, exactly. That was my experience. I'm not going to base my experience on that, but I remember not being
that thrilled about it.
Right. I wasn't. not so much the graphics, because I mean you could only do so much back then, but more so the concept. I was just like, I don't know. I kind of like holding the controller and watching my characters.
See, now maybe if they could do a combination of the controller and virtual reality somehow.
Well,
maybe.
I mean,
it's still basically like you're watching through a TV.
Right, exactly.
It'd be exactly the same, so it's like, why would I want to do that anyway?
Well, and that's what seems so surreal. Like, you do use the controller and everything, and then you just kind of, you move around, but then, like, if you want to turn and look, you just have to turn your head, and I can see where that can get confusing, because then I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? So...
Unless they just have the buttons. Just the buttons and not the sticks.
Right. So, I don't know, but virtual reality itself, I'm still kind of hung up on whether or not, like, clearly we brought up Resident Evil 7, and Resident Evil 7 is one of those games that I wouldn't mind trying on there, but the problem is that it's a horror game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone might have a seizure, or a panic attack, or just die from a heart attack. I don't know. But if you were to put that in virtual reality with that game, yeah, it'd be pretty intense. It'd be pretty terrifying.
Right? So, I mean, I don't know how that game is, but I mean, I've not played the demo, but can you imagine? Resident Evil's known for jump scares.
Yep.
So, that's all you need is just that one monster to just go, brah!
Like, they literally take people out and test what kind of scares work. That's what they did in Until Dawn. Not only is it customized to each person differently based on the questions you answer with your therapist in the game, but they also took a group study of people and set them in a dark room by themselves playing this game, seeing which scares work the best. And that's what they put in the game, the scares that work the best in an all-group effort. I was like, no wonder why this game is terrifying. You did it on purpose. You wanted it to be the scariest game possible. Now, a lot of people don't like it, but I like it because it is a story-based game and I don't have to go around shooting people all the time because I'm not a big first-person shooter fan. I do play them, but it's not like, oh, I can't wait to play and shoot continuously. Like, it's not the biggest thing in the world to me. I rather have good story.
Well, Until Dawn is one of those games that are, it's also like parkour based, isn't it? Like you're running from the zombies and you're trying to climb up the...
Well, you'll run from things.
Uh-huh.
But you won't use, like, the analog stick. It's basically like a movie. You're watching them, and then it'll show a button on the screen, and then you have to tap it before the time runs out. And it's kind of like what's that really old game? Dungeons and something? Like
Dragon Slayer?
Yeah, it's like that, but in movie form. It's really cool.
Really? I thought it was all action based.
Like, it's super action based in a sense. There's only one point in the game where you actually shoot things. And you actually use your controller. You move it because you have the sensory pad.
Uh-huh. You
move it like this to try to aim, which I thought was really cool.
I'll have to check this out because I don't quite understand the concept.
Oh, you'll see it. You'll see it. It's amazing. I like it. Much.
How close are you to finishing the game?
Really close, actually. I have probably one more chapter left. So, I'm hoping I don't kill everybody before I figure out the mystery. Because it's you find clues on the way. And, well, yeah, you kind of do move in certain scenes, and some scenes are movie-based. But it's a survival/detective game.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll have to look because my whole impression was it was a parkour game. Maybe it's a different game I was thinking of.
I was going to say, it's not like run, jump, jump, run, jump, jump. Like, it's not constantly moving all the time.
Right. Well, I would... Can you imagine that in VR?
Exactly, no. Like, I would probably not play it in virtual reality. I'd be like, no, put this down. Like, if it was something like Little Big Planet or something severely cute in virtual reality, sure. But if it was something super scary, I'm pretty sure I'd have a heart attack. Because my anxiety would just be like, nope, time to kill yourself. Like, you saw it. It's death. Nice.
Well, I can't think... Well, I mean, I could think of several games that could make use of virtual reality. Mirror's Edge. That would be... Speaking of parkour.
Yeah, that one's a big one.
Yeah, I've not played the new one, but I played the old one, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I still wish I could actually see my character, but if they're gonna go ahead and do it in that from that perspective, then I think virtual reality would be a good good I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Catalyst, asset, yeah, feature. Feature to have in the game. But still, other games. I mean, there's several first-person shooter games you can do. Call of Duty. What's the other one? Battlefield, the one we were talking about last podcast. Or like the horror games. Like Silent Hills. Think about that. The PT demo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine that, just playing there and then just that thing popping up and like biting you and
just those games in general. Like ever since I was a kid, because my brother first introduced me to them, and I just remember the door squeal. Like when in this game, I forgot what if it was the first or not, but it'd zoom up on the door and it would squeal, and you wouldn't know what was behind it till that little clip of whatever it playing the door opening was over, and then there'd be zombies or whatever, but you could just always hear them groaning and then the door opening, and that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. It was like I'm like, no.
Yeah, I remember those on with the doors on Resident Evil 2 that they would do that. I remember Resident Evil 2, you would go open the door and I mean, there would be nothing there, but there was one particular area where like you couldn't go back because it practically took you to the beginning of the game. And so if you tried to go in there, all of these zombies came in and all this scary music played and everything. It was like, ugh. But with Silent Hill, I've mentioned several times before, like I cannot get through a Silent Hill game. It doesn't matter what one it is. First one, I could barely get through the beginning. Second one, I got all the way up to Pyramid Head the first time before I was like, okay, I'm done. Silent Hill 3, I just couldn't find my way out of the mall.
You're just like,
Yeah, and then Silent Hill 4 got to a point where it says they were ghosts, but they sounded like zombies, but they like floated around and followed you, and they made these terrifying noises. Like, I was like, that's not the sound a ghost makes. And I would play through that, but I couldn't finish it. And then PT, I can't finish it because, well, I can't figure it out for one thing, and then seeing the character Lisa there just kind of freaks me out. So I don't know.
Those games. Those games give me nightmares.
I wouldn't say they give me nightmares. I'd say for me, they're more like they play with my mind. Because I remember after playing that, like, where I used to live before, my son, would occasionally come to visit. He had his own room, and it was closed most of the time. And when I had to go in there to get something at night, I'd be like, oh God, something's going to be waiting for me in there.
Run past the hallway.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, they can play with your mind quite a bit, but I don't play too many horror games because I'm kind of picky about them. Like, I'm so used to, like, Resident Evil and Silent Hill that, like...
I wanted to play, what was it? Juno? The Grudge? Wii. That's what I really wanted to play, but I didn't have a Wii, and I couldn't find the game either.
Yeah.
Apparently that one was, like, super scary. But if you want to play that game, do not watch the YouTube videos because it ruins it for you. Because it's all the same. It doesn't matter who plays it. The story plot's still the same. So, and the jump scares.
Yeah, I remember I actually did watch the videos.
Yeah.
Just because I could never find the game. And we had considered buying it, but then we were just like, no, we freak out about all the other stuff. I don't know.
It was basically that times Slender Man. Basically. Like... When I think of the Slender Man games, like on the PC, when they were playing that game that's been out for a while, when kids were like, oh, you should play the scary game, that was Juno the Grudge for the Wii. That was my Juno Grudge. So.
Nice. Well, I can't think of any other horror games that I played recently. I'm just very picky about them. Condemned, never played it. I tried playing Jericho, but I actually had the game. I don't know if you heard of that one. It was by, I guess the story was written by Clive Barker. He did like Hellraiser and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
And I remember seeing the game going through testing when I worked at Sony, and looked like from what I could tell, it looked like they were like in some hellish like place, and like all these people are undead. And I remember this one, again, I've not played it, but I remember watching somebody test it, and there's this one scene where like you have to get something from like one of the possessed bodies, demons, whatever they were. They're just kind of stuck to a wall, and like if they bit you, it was game over.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm like, okay, so these guys can't bite you. Okay, what's going on? And I bought the game just to figure it out. Never played it. Don't know what the story is about. I just knew that the demons in there made these freaky noises, and that's all I kept hearing.
No. How did we get... Oh, yeah, we went from virtual reality to its use in games.
Right.
I still think virtual reality will go somewhere. Whether it's in games... I mean, it's... I don't know how many years it'll take, but I was thinking about this yesterday. It could even be used for media, like ads. I know they're already doing it at the zoo with virtual reality for tablets.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Like, they'll have... You could point it at... Usually they'll have these little places where you read about the animal and you point your phone at it, and then like an elephant will pop up.
Oh,
and
so
it's like a 3D thing, but it's not popping up from your tablet. It's just
right.
you see it through your tablet on the actual surface.
So it's like an augmented reality.
Yeah, augmented reality, and then they're probably gonna adapt virtual reality into it later. So I'm like, what's the point of going to the zoo?
Exactly. But you know what's funny though? It's funny you mentioned that, because I remember doing a project, and so all you media people who are listening, you can steal this idea from me. I did a project a couple of years ago on how to get more people to visit the zoo. It was kind of like part of like an advertising campaign that we were supposed to do for a class. And one of the things I came up with was that idea of augmented reality, only it was like find 6 cheetahs across Indianapolis, and if you find them, then they will you'll get a free plushie.
Oh, wow.
And I have that. I actually have one of the ads from that, because I actually like the way it turned out and everything. But like, it sounds like they're going that route anyway.
I mean, yeah, they already did. There's one guy who's done that, like done the whole business. I got to meet him at IUPUI. I think his name is Jeremy, and he was also at SIGGRAPH. I think he's also the head of the student volunteer program at SIGGRAPH. But he did his company with augmented reality in the zoo, where he developed that, like 3D animals and stuff. So that's already a business. So you're out of luck there.
Well, goodbye riches.
He jumped the gun on that one.
Well, darn it. How many
And he
years?
presented it last year too.
Oh, okay.
It was already developed years before.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because I think I did this about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I want to say, but it was just a concept. I actually didn't do all
you
that.
actually didn't build anything and be like, this is it. This is my business plan.
Right. I just designed the ads for it. Yeah, I can see it just being... I could see it being the future now as opposed to before, because technology has come a long way. But it's also scary what they can do with it. If they're really going to do it for advertising and whatnot, then it's like...
I think they'll use it for everything at one point in time. I think they may try to use... It'd be cool if they tried to use, like, Google Glasses and then put that in with the world and just put, like, little... What are those little squares? They're, like, code squares or something like that. And make augmented reality with those, and then maybe do some virtual reality with... I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of combinations of technology eventually where they're going to make augmented reality and virtual reality a thing. A very big concept. That's my prediction anyway.
Well, hopefully we'll see some of this. I'm not looking forward to all of it. I actually do have a problem with Google Glass.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Well, it's not just that. I had a coworker when I worked at when I worked at Toys R Us. I had a coworker who he had Google Glass, and I was like, oh, let me see it, and I put it on, and somehow I'm like, there's some kind of, and I'd like to think I'm tech savvy, but then when it came to this, I had no idea what I was doing, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? There's a flashing red light. Oh, you're recording me right now. I'm like, you serious? You can record this and no one else can know that? And it's like, I can see that being a little invasive, you know?
Well, they did law for that, like, especially if you're wearing Google Glasses and you go to a movie or anything like that. They have laws against it now where you can't record. Because that's what a lot of people were afraid of with that. They're like, well, they could just record anything. Like, I could see it being a benefit, like, in a threatening situation, but it can also be abused like any other piece of technology that we have.
Oh, I could see a level of abuse on that going off the charts, because it was just scary that I was able to do that so easily and not even...
I believe they're making a new concept for the Google Glasses too. I think they're changing them a bit.
Well, and that's the other thing I don't get. Like, he had them, and I'm like, okay. It was like, I guess they gave them to select people, and I'm like, how much you pay for this? It was like $1,500. And I'm like, oh my god.
That's too expensive for me.
Yeah, I was just like, I'll stick to sunglasses, thank
and
you.
plus, it just seemed like the prototype of the beginning.
Right.
Like, I'd want, if I was gonna spend that much money, I'd want something like solidified and finalized. Like, and it's hard to say that too, because eventually they'll always come out with more stuff. But I would like it not to be the first prototype ever that came out.
Right. It's just a scary thought that you know, you could have people in there like. I just could see so many things. I mean, and I'm just thinking of the negative aspect of it. You know, you're right. It could come in handy should like an incident happen and it's something needs to be captured. But I mean, we've got cell phones for that now. But then, excuse me, we have idiots who like to just record and not help. You know, and maybe with this you can record and then call for help and say.
I wonder what kind of laws they have to that. Like, what if, you know, someone with Google Glasses did record potent information with a murder scene or something like that, and they can, is it gonna be like the cell phone thing? Like, what was it? Apple wouldn't unlock, or was it AT&T or Apple? I can't remember. Wouldn't unlock a person's phone to get that information, which I get it. It's a right, but I guess the government wanted this technology available so they can open anyone's phone at any time.
Right.
And I was like, is that going to be the same thing with these Google Glasses? If there's some pertinent information there, are they going to do that? Is it going to be a liability? What kind of rules, restrictions are on it?
Right.
So it's very interesting. There's like pros and cons with everything that comes out these days.
Oh yeah, and that's the scary thing about technology in general, because you know you've got all this crazy stuff going on around the world nowadays, and it's like even video games are at this point now where it's like
they're worlds themselves. It's like they could made a whole different universe on one disc, and it blows my mind every time.
Oh, I know. There was a news report a couple of days ago. You know, not to bring like, you know, world events in or anything like that, but you know, the whole thing with ISIS going on right now, apparently there was a rumor going around that they were recruiting people through PlayStation 4, like the chat feature and whatnot, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I heard it a couple of days ago. It was for one of the attacks in Paris, I think, or whatnot, maybe even before that, but yeah, so like not even video games at this point are safe from like that kind of threat. It's really sad because, you know, I mean, that's stuff that both you and I grew up on, where it was like a safe medium where we could just play. And...
Well, it's also connected through internet now versus back in the day where you could just get a cartridge or a disc, put it in, and that was it.
Exactly.
You were in. You didn't have to wait for downloads and be like, okay, I have to wait an hour before I can play this game.
Right. And
like, we didn't have to worry about that.
And it's not like before where like we don't need the internet to not play games, because some of these games require patches or whatnot. So it's like, okay, well, what if a company does a shady thing, releases an incomplete game, and then you know, you have to go online and update your system so they can play this game.
Well, I was buying my niece, or no, it was my nephew, I think it's Zombies versus Plants, something like that.
Oh, Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, do you have Xbox Live? Because you have to have it to play. I was like, what kind of... That's so backwards from what I was used to as a kid. And even now, I kind of hate the fact that they're like, oh, you got to download everything just to play it. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's the sad state of gaming right now, and I really hope that
And the more you buy into it, the more they'll be like, yeah, we can keep doing this. But
well, yeah, and that's the thing though. The generation of teenagers and adults now that they're kind of growing up on this, that they, I mean, not, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not okay, but it's. I don't think they understand that this is their money-making concept, and this is how they're going to keep things going, going to keep us from, because like now, you know, you want to go back and play an old game, well, we can reissue it, you know, or we can do this, whereas before, you know, oh, you can just pull up your old Nintendo and then play it there.
Yeah.
And I think that's how they're trying to keep like the old games relevant and still make money off of them. At least that's the thought process going on through a lot of people's minds.
It just seems like every year there's something new, and it's hard to keep up. Like, my Keurig is literally out of date. I got it last year. It's like, why?
Right. And there's... when Microsoft wanted to do that whole thing about always being online, and I brought this up with Menji and the other podcast, that they want to go online, and so that you had to be online to make sure that you had a game and it wasn't, you know, and they wanted to download it, and basically the discs were just going to be install discs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? That's how you're going to kind of limit us, you know, as to what we can do? I remember my internet went out and I was playing Dead Rising 3. This is after they had done all, you know, done away with all that. But that was like, can you imagine that I was trying to play Dead Rising 3 and I couldn't because my internet just went out?
That would be shitty. Like, let's be honest. That'd suck.
It kind of reminds me of when they did ebooks. When they started with ebooks.
Yeah.
And
I hated ebooks too when it first came out.
Yeah, well, I'm open to the concept, but I heard a really good point. And it's like, you know, with a book, you can turn the page, you can continue reading. It's not like with a tablet, you read the book and say, oh, well, my battery's low, I can't read anymore.
Exactly, but then they're like, but you're saving the trees. I was like, well, if you just legalize hemp already, then we could just make hemp books. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That'll solve everything.
It solve everything.
Yeah, world peace.
Done. World peace, world hunger, done. Everything will be, you know, holding hands, singing Kumbaya, playing video games in the center.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. Legalize hemp.
Legalize it.
But by the way, this is a family show.
Hey, I didn't say the other part of it. I just said hemp.
Yeah, this is a family show with F-bombs and curse words every now and then. Yeah, I can't remember an episode that we beeped ourselves on something. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I totally get what you mean on that. It's just, but you know, going back to gaming and everything, I mean, it's just the same thing. It's like, oh, I can't play. Why? Because your internet's down. I'm already experiencing that. You know, I brought up Final Fight. There's Final Fight, which is a game that I should be able to play. Like, if I had it on Nintendo, I can play it anytime. There was one time I wanted to play it during a rainstorm. My internet went out, and I tried to play the game, and it says, well, you're not connected to the internet, so we can't verify that this is yours. I'm like, this is like a 20-year-old game. Why can't I?
It's like,
yeah, pissed me off really bad.
Yeah, so I think that's the only downside, is having internet constantly connected to our games.
Yeah, well,
and I don't think people realize the negativity, because as today's society, we're constantly connected to the internet through our phones. Like, we're on that 24/7 through our TVs, through our game systems. Like, everything's connected.
Right.
And just imagining how connected it is kind of worrisome.
It is. I mean, Lord knows, I mean, we're already being watched. I'm sure this podcast, as we're recording, is being monitored right now.
There was a couple words that you can't say, or else the police will find you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. It's funny because my son mentioned to me the other day. He was like, "Dad, when can I get a cell phone?"
So, okay.
I'm like, "You can get one when I think you're ready, and you're gonna be getting a flip phone." He goes, "Why?"
Because you don't need a smartphone. I had a rock, like a literally rock Nokia that I got maybe when I was 16, and the only reason I got it then is because I was playing basketball and my parents needed to know when they could pick me up in case anything changes. That was it.
Right?
I could get signal anywhere. It was amazing.
Right, exactly. And that's all he needed. That's technically all he would need, but that's when he gets to that point where we're okay with him doing that.
Kids will never know the pressures of past society with older phones and dial-up and typewriters.
I forget you are slightly younger than me.
Yep.
And because we had pagers.
Yep. Manny actually had a pager.
Really?
Yeah, they use pagers a lot in the Philippines.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
We used it a lot back in my day.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, I used to use this. No, I used to use
Hashtag
pagers.
my day.
And we had to learn how to speak in number code and everything like that. It was pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, even then, I was like, it's amazing how we came from
that to this.
Exactly. To now we can go on the internet on our phones. You know, I sometimes catch myself more on my phone watching YouTube than on my computer, and I'm like, you know, I could sit down and enjoy the luxuries of being on the computer instead of just holding this on my phone. It's kind of sad. Excuse me.
Days were so simple.
Yeah. Well, and then like even with the portable stuff, I mean, there's still limitations. Like for example,
now the Nintendo DSs are connected to the internet too.
Well,
I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, to an extent. I mean, there's more. I think what's it called? Ad hoc, or
something like that.
Something like that, where they have a street pass where you walk by somebody and then I forget that feature exists, so I'll turn on my 3DS and then I'll have 100 people are on my friends list.
They walked past you. I'm like, I don't know them. I don't know you people.
The most interesting time to have your 3DS is when you're at the airport.
Oh God, it is. I took mine to the airport and it just kept going. Bloop, 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 bloop. I was like, oh jeez, and I opened it and it's like, oh, these people want to come to your gate or whatever. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I've had that, and I had that long line. I remember I had a long line of 25 people one time, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, that's so many people. But fine, I get points for them, whatever. I got my Mario hat, so I'm happy.
They were just like, oh, hi, my name's blah, blah, blah. This is the game I'm playing. Bye!
And sometimes they'll have their little catchphrase and whatnot. So, well, I thought it was cool. I don't know, have you heard of Rosanna Penzino? Well, she has that show on YouTube called Nerdy Nummies.
Oh.
And I don't know if I was at the same airport as her or what, but all of a sudden she showed up on my friend's thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
And she had but hers was highlighted, so I don't know if maybe she did a deal with Nintendo.
Maybe she could.
Or what, but yeah. But if you haven't heard of her, she does pastries and whatnot, but she will make them themed. So she'll make him Kirby or Mario, or if it's a movie theme, she'll
I gotta
make
look her up later.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Nerdy Nummies, I think she goes by, she used to go by that, I think, but now she actually goes by her real name.
Yeah.
But she still calls the show Nerdy Nummies.
We did not get paid for this.
Yeah. We did not get paid for this, nor do I know her in person, but yeah, she is on my 3DS friends list for some reason.
Some awkward, weird tangent reason, because we're all connected now.
Exactly. So yeah, if you happen to be in the area, call me. But anyway, so moving on, because I have no clever segue to the next topic.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts 3. There has been absolutely not much news lately in the game.
Makes me depressed.
Yeah, and I was going to have this long list of worlds that has already been down, but we were thinking about what would we like to see? What worlds would we like to see in Kingdom Hearts 3? But before we do that, let's talk about the first two games. And I don't know, what other games have you played in the series?
I just played the first and the second. The first one is a lot harder than the second, guaranteed. It's so hard to get through.
Yeah,
the second one's more relaxed, and I think they did that on purpose because they realized, oh, maybe we should tone this down a little. Some people are losing their minds.
Yeah, well, the first one was definitely hard.
I had to buy a guidebook, okay, just to make it through the first one. Because I got to Tarzan and then I got stuck.
Oh, nice.
Or no, it was Hercules and I got stuck because I didn't know how to do something super special. And no other planets would show up, even though it's like, yeah, you're totally done here. And it's like, no, obviously I'm not, because the planets aren't showing up, or different worlds.
And see, for me, it wasn't so much that part that was hard. For me, it was hard getting through some of the cutscenes, because I think the first one, because it was developing the story, too difficult for me. Like, not too difficult for me to, like, follow. Like, that's where the plots get convoluted and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't say I recently played it, because I played it back.
Bless the wiki.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's not always accurate, still, like, it gives you at least a basic storyline of what's happening.
Yeah, and I get the gist of it, but yeah,
It gets very confusing.
Yeah, I get so lost in that. And Kingdom Hearts 1.5, I played it about 2 years ago, and I got to Monstro. And I remember why I hated that world so much.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, once I get to that world, I'm kind of like, gonna put this down.
See, I didn't play much of the side games because I wasn't interested in it. Like, I was like, okay, we get it, blah, blah, blah. But I get why they were important. At least one of the side games were important to the main story. The rest of them were just kind of, they were testing. It looked like they were just testing different methods of play.
I think so, because, okay, there was Kingdom Hearts and there was Chain of Memories, which I did not like at all. But it was an important part of the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Chain of Memories was actually important. The rest of them, I'm just like, meh.
Yeah. Well, no, there is another important one, Birth by Sleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one, and that one actually is
I just watched all the videos on YouTube for that one.
Oh,
I didn't even
cheater.
Play it. I cheated. I'm such a cheater.
Okay, so Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is a little bit different than all the other ones, because in theory, the game is shorter, but it's not. Because you only got a couple of worlds. You got... I don't remember the names they get in, but I think Enchanted Domain and Dwarf Village or something like that, or Dwarf Caves.
They really selected. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they were the Sleeping Beauty. It was Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, and Snow White. You went through those worlds. You went through the spaceship from Lilo and Stitch, and you went through Neverland, which seems to get hoarded around in all these games.
I realized that. I was like, what's that? Maybe it's something about always being a kid.
Maybe, I don't know. I personally think that they just don't come up with good ideas, because if you think about it, Kingdom Hearts, the first one, they went through Neverland. It wasn't really Neverland. It was just a pirate ship.
Yeah, it was just really a pirate ship.
Yeah, and then Big Ben, which wasn't even Neverland. That was London. You know, and then you got, because I played the DS version, where the ridiculous name 358 for 2 days. I played that one, and that Neverland was just a bunch of islands and the pirate ship.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, this Neverland's boring. You finally get to Birth by Sleep. You're actually going through Neverland this time.
Maybe it was because they were on crunch time.
It probably.
Because they have so many worlds to develop, and they're probably either reusing models that they already had, or they were like, we have to make this small because we have to move on.
Maybe they made that world immersive and they had to split it into 3 parts. I mean, it's hard to tell, but yeah, they recycled my problem with the side stories were that they rehashed a whole lot of previous worlds. And it got old really fast, and like I didn't care for the story so much, because it's like, I've been through this world before.
Exactly.
I want to see something different. And it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna give me one world, you know?
See, that's why I was afraid to play the side games.
Exactly.
Because I was afraid I'll get tired of it, and I'll get tired of it by the time they finally release Kingdom Hearts 3 or whatever they're gonna call it.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that to myself.
Well, I will say that Birth by Sleep doesn't give you that fatigue, because you do have the worlds there. You do have Disney Town. You have that place. You have what's the other one? You still have Radiant Garden, or Hollow Bastion, whatever you want to call it. And that place is always different. But see, that's different because Hollow Bastion plays an important role in the story. So it's like, okay, that makes sense.
When I first played the game, when I was, whatever, I think maybe 13, 14, I can't remember. I was young. It was the very first time, it was on Christmas, I got a PlayStation 2 because my parents were awesome. And that was the game that came with it because they knew how much I wanted it at the time. And I was a kid that didn't ask for much because I knew her situation, but I was lucky enough that they got it for me. And like I spent weeks playing that, but the one thing I do remember is Mickey being there. And he's just, you hear his voice trying to sound badass, but it's in Mickey voice. Like his script is amazing, but in Mickey voice it's
it
just
just doesn't sound right. I remember because I just actually I'm showing my son Kingdom Hearts 2 right now. I actually haven't shown him in a couple of months, but the last thing I showed him was after you fight the first what's his name, Demix, the first undercover Organization 13 member, and then Goofy gets hit by the boulder, and like it's so hard to take that scene seriously because it's so dramatic, but then it's like Disney characters.
Like all you hear is the music. And then Goofy like,
and it's Goofy, you know. He gets hit on the rock with the head, and it's like, whoa, Goofy got kind of serious here, you know.
It's like, oh snap.
And then Mickey's like, who paid for this, you know?
Like you can't take it seriously. He's just like, oh guys, come on. I'm like, oh god, Mickey, why?
He's like, I'll get my revenge, you know.
I'll be back. I'm like, oh Mickey, will you though?
So yeah, no, I get it. It's hard to take that dialogue seriously.
And he looked really cool too, and I think it was Kingdom Hearts 2 when he finally puts the organization's hood on.
He looked cool there. I was kind of hoping he'd keep that gear on because I actually don't like the outfit they gave him.
Me neither. I think he should have just kept on the hood. You should have kept undercover in Organization 13.
Well, and he had like a cameo at the end of the first game.
That's like, how could he stay undercover? He has ears, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were there too. They weren't just hidden there, like.
Yeah, it's like you there with the big ears. Who are you?
Oh.
Don't know. Anyway, he had a cameo at the end of the first one. I was like, I remember playing through the entire first one, and I'm like, I'm like, when's he gonna appear? I mean, I'm an adult and I shouldn't really care so much about Mickey Mouse, but it was my childhood, so I want to see Mickey.
Exactly. And
he's at the end. It was like, you can do it, Sora. And it was like, that's it.
Look into the light, Sora.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, so with the first game, I'm going to say that like some of the world. I'll start with the world I hated the most, and I still hate it in Kingdom Hearts 2, even though it's kind of cut down and condensed to the music scene. Atlantica, the Little Mermaid world.
Oh god, yeah.
I
think that was more towards kids, though, if you think about it. Because basically all you're doing is singing.
Well, on the second one you're singing.
Yeah, in the second one you're singing the whole time. I'm not sure about the first one. I didn't make it that far.
The first one, you're swimming through it. It's kind of like, you're in a world where you're floating and everything, but you're swimming, and the physics are a little different, so it gets tricky to control, and then you have to fight Ursula, which I don't know how I beat her the first time I ever played the game, but when I played the HD remake, I was like, how did I defeat her? And turns out you had to play with like the cauldron in her lair. Okay. And I couldn't figure that out, and she kept beating me, and I'm like, how did I beat her the first time I played through this game? But just the level alone, especially in the first one, I hated it so much.
I will give the first game, Kingdom Hearts, its reputation for making bosses hard, because, dear God, I don't know how much patience I had then to try to defeat characters, but now I'd just be like, 3 times I'd be like, okay, walk away. But back then it was like 10 times, it's like, I got this, and then I'd throw a controller and then cry and then pick it back up. It's like, you're not going to defeat me.
Yeah, I remember, which boss gave me the hardest?
Sephiroth was probably like the hardest. Like that guy, I was just like, no. And then when I saw him in the second game, I was like, I already know this routine. No.
Right. Well, the funny thing is that he was added to the American version of the initial release of the game.
Really?
Yeah, okay. He wasn't originally in the Japanese version, but Square Enix is gonna run on the coattails of Sephiroth being the most popular, one of the most popular villains ever.
I like how they did Cloud in the first one too.
Yeah, I liked his design in the first one, and then they got into the second one, and they kind of had to follow the movie.
It was kind of like Advent Children design.
Yeah, and they explained it too, and I hated that explanation. It's like,
he was like, what happened to you? You look different.
it's the price I paid for doing what I do. I'm like, wow, that is such a
emo.
Matrix line.
So emo.
Well, it came from. Have you ever watched the Matrix trilogy?
Yeah.
Okay, you know that the Oracle in the second movie, she died.
Yeah.
Like, the actress died. So they had a new Oracle for the third one, and she looked different, and they even explained it. And it's like, it's the price I paid for helping so-and-so. Like, they stole that line from that movie.
They're like, Square Enix is like, wait, I know how we can fix this.
Yeah.
Have you seen those movies?
Yeah, pretty much. And they were just kind of like, okay, yeah, explain away that terrible look, because I actually do not like the look of the Advent Children.
I like his look then, but that's only because I only saw 7, like the actual game, maybe once or twice. I never actually played it, but I actually like the way he looks in Advent Children. I remember when that movie came out, I watched it for 2 weeks straight, no joke. It was just in my DVD player every night.
You poor soul.
Like, I just kept repeating. It was the graphics that blew my mind. I was like, what is this?
You poor soul. I think that's a terrible movie.
I love that movie. It's just so beautiful, the way they did it.
Well, apparently there is a re-release that's supposed to have more content, so I have not seen this, so maybe it'll be better, but I mean, that whole movie for me was just like, okay, that is just one big wet dream to fight Sephiroth again at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
That's all it was. Like, there wasn't even much explaining going on. There was just like, okay, watch me look good, stare at the camera for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we are gonna run now.
Exactly.
Things are gonna happen, but we don't know why.
Yeah, and it was just, I just thought the plot was dumb, and I was just like, no.
Back to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts.
Happy place.
Yeah. I did like Cloud's design in the first game because he had the wing thing going on.
That's what I liked.
And they didn't do that in the second one, I don't
which
think.
I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah,
I was like, I want the wing to come back.
It's like continuity, please.
Continuity error.
Yeah, and so the worlds that I didn't like, I actually did not like the Olympus Coliseum, which is where that's another stage that's in every game. That gets tiring. But the world that I did like, and it's probably the most cliche answer, is the Halloween Town level.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun, and it seemed a little more variable in what they had to offer. And I like the fact that even though you fight Oogie Boogie at the end and you defeat him, and then all of a sudden he becomes the tower.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. It's a simple battle, but it's kind of God of War-ish.
Yeah,
you know, you have to climb up on it.
And I hope they do more of that in the third one. Like, I've seen some of the gameplay they released, and it looks really cool. I'm excited.
Well, yeah, and then they have these new concepts, like you can summon the rides and everything like that. And
my video game wet dream. That's what Kingdom Hearts 3 is for me.
There you go. Oh my god, I'm trying to think what other levels were on there, because it's been a while since I played.
I know, it's been a while. Like, I haven't even finished the first game.
Oh yeah, so you can't even tell me what your favorite... But have you finished the second one?
Oh yeah, I completed the second one.
Okay,
like,
so...
the whole week I got it. I was just done.
So what were your favorite levels there?
Okay. Visiting Tarzan again. I actually like the way they did that.
He wasn't in the second one.
I thought he was, like the world was. Yeah, confuse it with the first one. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and the Tarzan level was kind of cool, but then once you got like the jungle part.
What's that weird castle? Organization 13's castle with the heart. I think that
World
was my favorite place to visit, just because I liked the way it looked.
I like the music.
Yeah, and the music, and I was like, that's probably visually my favorite place to go. Trying to remember the places in the game, though. That was like the absolute...
Well, there was... Let's see, I'm trying to remember myself. It's been a while. There's Twilight Town. There is...
Twilight Town gets boring, though.
Yeah, after a while. I like it when they change the music, though, because I didn't like the original music you start off with when you play as Roxas. It was kind of boring, and then you kind of got to a more upbeat... No, it wasn't even more upbeat.
That was the first beginning, and then the second one was more upbeat.
Yeah, well, I mean, it still was kind of mellow, but then, like, when you got to the battle music, it was more
Axel was my favorite in the second one.
Oh, really?
He was, and when he, spoiler alert, dies, I lost my shit. I was like, no, why?
Well, apparently, in
my heartstrings.
Another spoiler alert. He comes back in Dream Drop Distance,
which I saw, and I was like, those bastards.
Yeah, but he comes back as Lee.
Yeah.
He doesn't come back as Axel. And I'm just kind of scratching my head is because it's like, okay, so before they became organization members, they looked one way, and then they looked a different way when they were nobodies, but then they kept the same bodies when they came back to life.
Which makes you wonder. It's like, because Roxas stays the same regardless. So you're like,
Right. So,
which technically, I guess Roxas is just a part of Sora. So I guess it makes sense.
Right, but still, it's just... See, we're still trying to figure out the whole plot.
It's just like,
Yeah, so... I don't know, there's just so much confusion there, but Dream Drop Distance is another one that has different worlds, by the way. I have to play through that one, but the gameplay has changed up a little that I'm just kind of turned off to it because when you play it, and I don't think they're gonna fix it when it comes out on PS4, but when you play it, there's moments where you'll fall asleep. You could be in the middle of a boss battle and you'll fall asleep and you'll switch to Riku or vice versa. And like, that's so dumb.
Like, what? Why?
He's like, can you imagine have one more hit? All right, I'm gonna get him. Oh shit, he fell asleep.
It's like, and done. We're done here.
Yeah,
I think they only did that though because they kind of explain what Roxas's importance is, and what was it, 365 days or whatever that one was called, which I just watched the videos of and did not play as well.
Nice.
They explain why Sora needs Roxas because apparently, I guess, Roxas is a big part of Sora's power, a big part of his strength, which was kind of thrown off for me. And I was like, what? And then, I guess, what was the other chick's name? She was a nobody too, but she was also a part of... Shion, yeah. And she ended up trying to take his powers.
Yeah, she tried...
And then they were like, well, yeah, we can use this because that means Sora will never wake up.
Right.
She didn't want that, so she kind of committed swimpuku. And just ended there.
There's that scene at the end where, like, because I never finished the DS game. I'm just going to call it the DS game because it's such a long name to say. And I did not like... I kind of got creeped out by the fact that towards the end she's like talking to Roxas and then she goes, you see my face? You see the voice of a boy? I'm like, the girl's voice coming out of Sora's mouth. Oh my god.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah, and then... And then he fights her, and then he doesn't really remember who she was and everything. And that was kind of sad and everything. I guess she's still part of the story, which
some weird, messed up way she's part of the story, and Namine's just like, memories!
Yeah. That's what all the Namine does. It was like, she messes with everyone's memories.
She's just like, I'm supposed to be a good librarian.
Yeah,
but I
much.
suck at my job.
Well, you had brought up something that I was going to mention, and I can't remember what.
Was it Roxas' power versus Sora's?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Because you made a face, I was like, he has something.
Yeah. Okay, so, with the exception of Aqua's story, I've beaten the stories in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, see, I haven't done those, so I wouldn't know. And
at one point, I know Ventus, and...
Isn't Ventus like or Roxas is look-alike? One of them looked exactly like her.
Yeah, Ventus looks like Roxas.
I'm
like,
just
almost
what's
exactly.
The point?
Well, this is what I'm about to explain.
Okay.
I don't remember how it is because it's been a while since I played it, but I remember that at the end of his story, Ventus gets knocked out. He fights his last boss is Vanitas, and they fight. He beats him. But Roxas gets knocked out. Or not Roxas, Ventus. See, I can't get the...
Yeah, I know, their names. There's so many names.
Which, if you beat Vanitas, if you crack his helmet, he looks like Sora.
Yep.
which I thought was kind of trippy.
Like, it threw me off when I saw just the trailer for that, and then they kind of showed that part that you're talking about in a YouTube video where it cracked his helmet and it looked like it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was like, what? And so at the end, you see Roxas's like spirit like coming down, and it's at the Destiny Islands. And you see Sora as a little kid, and he's saying something to the extent of, I need a home and this and that. Will you accept me? And then so Sora takes like his soul or whatever it is out there, and he just brings it to his heart. Like that.
That's kind of cute.
So I was like, that may explain why Roxas looks like Ventus, but whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's voiced by the same character too. That's the thing. Voiced character, same actor, Jesse McCartney. Yeah, he is the same voice actor.
So it makes you think, are they the same?
Yeah, and hopefully it gets explained, because there's...
Like, I just hope that the last game will just be the explanation of everything.
I hope so too, because it's like this trilogy is kind of getting a little out of hand.
Like, it's like storyception.
Right. Well, and then I'm interested in seeing what new worlds they're going to bring. We already know that they're going to bring in the world from Tangled. And we know they're going to bring in the world from Big Hero 6.
I'm so excited for San Fran Tokyo.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, because everyone was saying, is there going to be a Marvel thing? And Big Hero 6, I don't know if a lot of people know, is a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's animated, so, you know, that's why you see the Stan Lee cameo in the movie. So, there's your Marvel movie right there.
Because they were originally comics.
Right.
Before it was ever a movie.
Right, exactly. So there's technically your Marvel universe right there. I don't think they're going to add any other thing. I don't think we're going to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to actually... Because they'd have to pay a lot more for that franchise in order to use it, because that's a really big one right now. So they would have to pay some major money out just for that, let alone all the characters they're already exploiting in that game.
Right, exactly. And, you know, they can't... there's some... Oh, you know, I don't... Well, no. I don't think because they're licensed out to Fox, because I know that there were some X-Men characters that were supposed to be part of that group too. Silver Samurai. Yeah. Which I don't know how he fits into it, because as far as I knew, he was a bad guy.
Like, I could see how Kingdom Hearts could tie into all the worlds being the one world that ties them all together. Because of just the storyline alone.
Right.
I want to see... It'd be cool if they added a Star Wars thing in there. If they were to or are, only because I would want to see the Keyblade.
That'd be pretty awesome. And you know, at first when Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced, I couldn't think of what they could apply to that, because I didn't think Clone Wars really fit the mold.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like it would.
Right, but I've been watching on and off. I've been watching Star Wars Rebel, and I'm thinking, you know, they might be able to link that universe, because it looks more Disney-ish. Yeah. You know?
I mean, Disney kind of took over it, so they made it more towards their style.
Right. So they can still use some characters from there, because some of those characters are in there. Shoot, I was just watching an episode the other day, and Darth Maul was in it.
It's like,
I guess he made another surprise appearance.
He's not dead?
Yeah, and I don't know what going off topic really quick, I don't know what it is about Darth Maul, but he always goes out like a bitch. I swear to God.
He does.
I don't know what happened to him in Clone Wars, but Phantom Menace, of course, he gets cut in half and falls down the shaft. In this one, he's fighting, what's the main character? Not Ezra. Ezra's a young kid. It's his master that he's fighting, basically. And it wasn't much of a fight to begin with, and Darth Maul tries to, swing his lightsaber at this guy, and he misses, and he falls again.
See, he's just the pussy of Star Wars. That's what we're trying to figure out. Well, no, besides Jar Jar. Jar Jar's more. I hate that character.
I wonder if he's been brought back on any other show.
Don't say things like that. That is blasphemy.
Maybe he'll be in Kingdom Hearts.
He's like the Goofy of Star Wars. That's what he is.
You just cursed us, because now if there's a Star Wars world in there,
oh God,
Jar Jar will be the one.
What if they meet each other?
Yeah.
Oh God, what have I done?
Okay.
Take backsies.
You heard it here. If we see Jar Jar in Kingdom Hearts, it's Sarah's fault.
Yep, it's my fault now.
Uh-huh.
All on me. Hunt me down later.
But yeah, a Star Wars world would be... I didn't see it working back then, but now I see it being possible, especially with Star Wars Rebels being out, because I look at some of the... I haven't watched all the episodes, but I can see, like, with all the planets they travel to and everything like that, I can see it being more plausible that they can have one particular area where they can make it Kingdom Hearts-esque.
Another thing is, since like the Final Fantasy series has continued, who's gonna appear in that? Like, is Lightning gonna show up, or whatever her name is, and her sister Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
That spells it weird.
Yeah, you just want her in there because her name is Sarah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just one character.
Yeah, I don't know about, because Lightning wasn't as popular.
Like, she was like the female Cloud, though. Because she acted like Cloud, just in a female. They literally, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, but this is what I heard, and this is what I saw in a video once. But apparently, they said they used the same base model for Lightning that they did for Cloud.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. Someone can comment below. Or tell me. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, someone could answer that, because I don't even know that answer myself. But that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I could see some characters, that didn't make it in. I thought it was weird in Kingdom Hearts 2 that they added Setzer from Final Fantasy 6. And the funny thing is that he didn't look like he belonged there, even though he was designed to look like he was.
Was Orion in it once?
Yeah, he was. He was the only Final Fantasy character I know that's been like one of the side characters who will fight alongside you.
Oh yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
Because he deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it made sense. If you know his story, like, it's one thing if you play the game and you don't know what the story is, but if you play Final Fantasy X and you know the whole story, you know Auron's story, it totally makes sense why he's the one called out of there.
Yep, it does. Totally does.
So I thought that was cool. And I wonder if they are going to have another Final Fantasy character fight alongside them, because that seemed a little untraditional, I guess, even though it's only the second game.
I don't know, either. And that'd be cool if they're going to do that, or pull in a Final Fantasy world along in. Yeah. Which I could see it fitting, but it definitely have to change, because, well, no, Kingdom Hearts style has changed too, if you've looked at it from like the first game to the previews they've done for the third game. Like, the way they do their eyes is kind of tripping me now. Like, they look kind of weird. I'm like, what the hell is this? They look more cartoony, I guess.
Yeah.
Realistic, but cartoony. Like, the second game, they looked, especially in the scenic parts of the game, they looked really realistic, versus the scenic parts or previews that they showed for the third game so far looks more cartoon-ish.
Right.
Like, they're kind of shifting the style a little bit.
Well, I mean, also, you gotta remember that Sora's supposed to be even older in this game.
Yeah, I know.
And, I'm wondering, are they still gonna get Haley Joel Osment to voice him?
I hope so. Like, can she do a grown-up-ish male voice?
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, he's gotten into trouble. That's the thing. I mean, when he first started, he was still a kid.
Yeah.
And then he, clearly his voice changed, and that totally messed up the continuity with, because you have, going back to it, you have Kingdom Hearts, and then you have, Chain of Memories, which is supposed to take place right after Kingdom Hearts, and all of a sudden he goes through a voice change.
It's like,
yeah, because that game came out after, like, they didn't localize it for a while.
I think my favorite part in the second game was they woke him up, they woke Sora up, and he was still wearing the same clothes.
And they look so tiny on him.
I was like, you've grown up. You've grown up. They grow up so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they did that, though, because at least they take into consideration the time frame that, that he's still aging.
Exactly.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
That was the whole mystery of Naminé, too. Like, I remember seeing the previews for the second game, like, who's this chick that looks like Kairi, but not Kairi? Like, that was the whole thing for me.
Which is funny, because she looked like her, but she didn't. Like, she was total opposite of her. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Is she supposed to be Kairi's nobody, or is that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when Kairi... Did Kairi lose her heart at one point? Yeah, she did. She did.
The first game, I believe.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So the only person that doesn't have a nobody is Riku, but Riku...
But he's kind of the nobody, you know what I mean? Like, he's just immersed in all this stuff. And you're like, what are you doing, man? I accept the dark side, but I'm good. I'm Batman.
Well, now he's, you know, apparently, I mean, you can see that it's going to have, it's going to go back to Sora, Donald, and Goofy again fighting alongside each other. But they hint, if they do what they did with Dream Drop Distance, maybe you're going to fight alongside Riku, and maybe he'll have Mickey with him. But I also saw a hint that maybe Kairi might be the third Keyblade holder.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of like, okay, so are they, all three of them, going to fight together, or is this going to be kind of like Birth by Sleep?
It's hard to know. It's hard to really know.
But yeah, and then as far as other worlds that I'd like to see in there, I mean, and this isn't one I'd like to see, but I'm pretty sure it's going to find its way in there, is Frozen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Guaranteed. Like, if they don't, I'll be surprised.
Right.
Like, maybe they're like, oh, it's too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, right. If they can put it on Once Upon a Time, and
wasn't the game basically for kids too, with adult influence? Like, that was...
if with the difficulty of the way it was, I don't think so.
Because I was like, what, 12, 13 when I played it? I was still a kid.
So old. Uh-huh.
So, there's that.
Well, yeah, I mean, geared towards, like, your age, yeah, but I had, like, little kids 5 or 6 years old, no.
Like, I think it was just for the characters. The characters they geared towards the kids, but the story is more adult and for mature minds to wrap around. Because if you're a kid, you'll be like, I don't care, show me Mickey. Like,
right. Pretty much. It'll be like, where's Mickey in all this? I mean, I was asking that the first time around.
Yeah.
Like I said. So yeah, Frozen I can see being there. If they don't put Frozen in there, and I'm not asking for them to put Frozen in there,
I'll be very surprised if they don't.
Exactly. So I can see that world being in there.
What would the Frozen Keyblade look like?
Probably.
See, this is all I care about. Is
what you just want to know what the Keyblades look like.
For each world will look like.
Yeah. What other movies have come out? Because I mean, they've had a lot of movies come out within the last year.
Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, I could see them doing Princess and the Frog,
Rapunzel.
but I could see if they do that, they're gonna, because you know it's animal based, so it's probably gonna be one of those things where like you'll be a frog too, or like there'll be like some different animals.
It'll be like Ariel's world where you turned into that situation.
Right, which would disappoint me because I honestly, that was one of those movies where I would have liked to have seen Tiana more as a human than a frog. It's like, that's kind of disappointing, you know. But, I mean, I could imagine, like, I've only seen that movie once, and it was a great movie, but the voodoo guy, thank you, yeah. I could see him, I mean, it would work, think about it, because...
It would work, because it is a magical movie in a magical present, so it would work for the game very well, and there's many ideas they could throw around to make it fun. And
because they're using Heartless, you know, and they always replace the
bad guy was kind of heartless even then. He sold his soul.
Exactly. So, instead of saying he sold his soul to the devil, they'll just say he sold his soul to the Heartless.
Yep.
You know? Excuse me. So, Princess and the Frog, you can see. I'd like to see a world based around Bolt.
Oh. That'd be pretty cool, but he'd do a Lion King.
Yeah. Again. It would be a Lion King type level, but that's a level I would like to see. The only thing is that because Bolt's story is just a story about getting home, I don't know if it would work unless they did it to where it's not necessarily that story, but the story from the TV show that he's in. And so that way Bolt can have his superpowers and everything like that. I could see them working that into the game.
But just the overall movie itself, the actual plot, I could see it being very, very difficult to make that fun. Unless they were put a lot of trials to get the dog home. But
well, yeah, and I mean that could be
that'd just be irritating. I'd be like, come on.
Right. So I would say, because that's what the video game for Bolt was. It was they based it around the TV show. It was like there were episodes from the show.
Okay.
So I think that would be an interesting concept that they could do. And then I don't know. I can see some worlds returning. I definitely see Halloween Town coming back.
Oh yeah, if they don't put that in there, I'll be impressed. I'll be like, that was my place.
Yeah,
That's my place.
they'll see that they'll put that. Maybe they'll put pirates in. I don't know now with the whole controversy with Johnny Depp going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first I thought it was like that was like a shoo-in, but you know.
I just yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know
if that's even true, unless it's just.
Yeah, that's a topic for a whole other different kind of show.
That's like WTF news topic.
That's for your show, your media outbreak show. So yeah, I don't know about pirates. What's another one that's been popular here recently? Besides Star Wars, of course, because going back to Star Wars, the only other thing I could see them doing is basing something off of Force Awakens.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it is fairly recent. Although whenever this game comes out, who knows, Episode 8 may come out, or it could be based off of Rogue One.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah,
It'd be super awesome.
And I mean, could you imagine that? Because then, for sure, you'd probably fight Darth Vader in one of these. You know, I mean, even Rebels. You know, because Darth Vader is a. He's a pretty, from what I understand, he's a pretty big bad guy. Like this episode that I saw, he was in the finale. It was a season 2 finale, and I mean, he fought Ahsoka. Yeah. In there, and I was like, sorry for anybody. Spoiler alert. Too late.
Spoiler alert. We'd even warn you.
Yeah. He fought Ahsoka and all that, so I could see them fighting alongside there. But I could see it being done in Rogue One. I don't know, but I don't know the story for that, or if he's even going to appear in that. And then, if it's Force Awakens, they could be fighting Kylo Ren. You know,
yeah.
You know, they fight alongside Rey, and then they fight Kylo Ren, they defeat him, and then the cutscene plays where she defeats him.
Yeah, I could see that being a big part of it.
And I can see them just completely forgetting about Finn.
Well, they do a Lilo and Stitch world.
That'd be interesting.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, literally. Like an actual Lilo and Stitch world.
Yeah, an actual world, not just him popping up.
Yeah, well, like I said, they did the one world in Birth by Sleep, but it's before Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. So I'm assuming you're talking about like in Hawaii and everything.
Just that. That'd be like if he had to be sent back to his island. And then he's like the island across from that visitor. That'd be hilarious.
Did you know that there is an anime Stitch series?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it takes place like years after Lilo and Stitch, and he finds a new owner. So, but it still has Pleakley, it still has Jumba, but he has a brand new owner. And the only thing I didn't like is that he talks now. And he talks with that voice. But the only reason I even watched it was because there is an episode where he reunites with Lilo as an adult. Aww. And so I was like, okay, I have to see this episode. Aww. So it's on YouTube. Check it out. Aww. And
my heart.
Yeah. So
someone did like an art thing where they're like, Lilo grows up and dies and Stitch is still alive. I'm like, don't do that. Like,
right.
I don't have enough coffee or sedatives to get that out of my brain.
It's like, why? Right in the feels.
My feels. Time to play a horror game.
But yeah, what would they be able to do in a Lilo and Stitch? I mean, in a Lilo and Stitch world, I mean, it'd basically be Hawaii. They probably call it Maui.
Yeah.
You know.
It'd be different because it's not. Maybe they could fight alien invaders. Maybe they'll just do the story.
But at the same time, it works because they're so accepting of everything that's going on. It's not like, oh my god, there's aliens. You know?
Exactly. They're just like, aliens?
They're like, hey, look, talking shark.
Exactly. They don't even bat an eyelash. Like, that happens.
Yeah, so having Sora, Donald, and Goofy in there, that would work.
They'd be in all the other worlds. Like, come on, like they weren't even surprised he was there. Like one of the worlds was the old black and white Mickey. Like that has like really we're putting a stretch on this one.
Yeah.
Or Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, the Winnie the Pooh ones. I mean, but I think the whole difference is
that was the most boring level ever.
It is. I hate that world. I mean, I prefer it over Little Mermaid. If you told me you have to do Winnie the Pooh or Little Mermaid,
I'd be like
Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, yeah. Because I hate those musical scenes. I can tolerate those songs that are not original because they don't sound so lame.
Yeah.
But even the ones that they aren't original, they kind of mess them up.
You're just like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. So and they didn't put "Kiss the Girl" in there, which is
Nope.
my favorite Little Mermaid song. But
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
I haven't seen that in there either.
I haven't seen any
But they
references to Pocahontas.
but they put Snow White in there, but they don't reference. I think they even reference Bambi at one point.
He was a summon.
Exactly, but no Pocahontas. We being racist?
Yeah, exactly. What do you have against Native Americans, huh?
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I don't see that one working as much.
That's probably why they didn't put it in there, though.
Right, because I mean,
like, what would she do? Go that way. The wind told me to.
Right. And then the most supernatural thing in that movie is the tree, the talking
magic
tree.
chocolate. Like, I think the only thing that would happen is maybe he would go to that world to fight off the war between the savages or Native Americans and the Britons or whatever they were.
I don't see that world working so much.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting, but with everything else, I mean, even the animals in that movie don't talk. Like,
Miko
and what's the bird's name?
I don't even know.
And the dog, Percy.
Pug.
Percy isn't the dog's name Percy?
Yeah. Percy.
Yeah. So I don't know if that one would work. They've already had a level for Hunchback of Notre Dame, but that was on the Green Dot Pistons.
Yep.
I don't know what role that plays in there, so I'm gonna have to.
They should have just. That's a very brutal story. Maybe they should put it in there.
Right. You know what world I'd like to see, and it would probably one of those worlds where they all change into mice. It'd be the Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
I would love to see a world based on that. I don't think they would do it.
No, it'd be a little bit too complicated.
Yeah, because I mean it's essentially Sherlock Holmes with a mouse.
Yeah, like that could be a whole different game itself.
Right, but I could just see them all like being looking like mice and running around and.
Think of what other world besides that, like
Robin Hood. Robin Hood would work.
What was the Sword in the Stone? That wouldn't work, but that's just a reference.
you know something? I'm not a fan of Sword in the Stone.
Get out.
All right. See you later, everybody. No.
This is the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Merlin's in there.
Yeah, Merlin is.
So
in there.
I could see that being a world in the
like
game.
maybe a world that he accidentally like teleports them to or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
again, it'd be difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, like if they couldn't bring Simba into the whole thing, and so they didn't save it for the second one. So maybe they will have him in the new one. But then who would they? Well, okay, there's that witch, and I can't remember her name right now, but. That's about the only person I can see them fighting.
I think the one thing I am afraid of, though, is that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be too big.
It probably will.
And that's why I'm like Skyrim big.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, when did the initial trailer for it come out? Like 2 years ago.
So many years ago.
Yeah, and
like I'm still waiting. I grew up since then.
I was still in college when that.
Yep.
When that.
I was starting college. No, wait, no. At least, yeah, I was at least in the beginning of college, maybe.
Yeah, it's been at least 2 years since the last.
It's been long enough.
Yeah, so the game's been in development forever. It wasn't shown at E3. My only guess is that they're either working on something way too big or they are having trouble.
Well, last time I read, and this was from Game Informer magazine, was that this was going to be the last one with Sora in it. He's thinking about continuing the story, but it'll be a different perspective without Sora. Which I think will be very hard for us to maintain over here in the US, because that's one of the main reasons that keeps us going, is to see his story, how it plays out. And if they swap, like after this is done, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna keep the world, but a different character, whoever that may be, I'd be like, you're gonna fucking blow my mind. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to play it or want to play it because Sora's not in there.
Right.
But there's also been the mini games that don't absolutely include Sora, but he's still part of the functioning story.
Right.
So makes you wonder.
Well, yeah, like I said, Birth by Sleep has some appealing characters, and so did yeah, but I didn't care for the DS one, but that's mainly because they were all rehashed levels. And then even the one for what was the other one? Recoded. Didn't care for that one either.
Yeah. There was one that was based off cards that I hated. I did not like that at all. Do not put that in the game, I swear.
Oh yeah, that was the chain of memories.
Was it? I hated that, where you had to play with cards. I was like, I just want to hit things.
Right.
I don't want to play good cards.
If they have a system, I hope it's like Birth by Sleep, because I actually like their system.
Yeah.
But the other, well, why restrict it? Because I said Star Wars Rebels already. Why restrict it to just movies? You know.
Yeah.
Was it? I'd like to see a world for Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
Oh god.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, they already have what, Chip and Dale though.
Yeah.
It adds the ship people.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean that they can't go back to their world and whatnot, and
they're part of Mickey's world.
Yeah. But I would like to see DuckTales. DuckTales would be an awesome world to visit. But now that what's his name? Alan, the voice of Scrooge McDuck. Oh my god, I forgot his name.
I don't even know his name.
But
he's more than me at this point.
The voice of Scrooge McDuck. He passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was pretty up there in age. He, even if you play like the DuckTales remastered, you can tell he's putting his all into it, but you can tell that he's tired.
Yeah, he's just like,
yeah. Because if you listen to that compared to the cartoon, you know, way back when, he sounds a lot more softer.
That was my jam.
Yeah.
DuckTales.
I love DuckTales.
Chip and Dale and so many childhood memories.
I love DuckTales to the point where I was made fun of for it in school.
I don't care. I don't care what you people say. If I like something, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
If I want to become a stripper, by gosh darn it, I'll become a stripper.
You heard it here first, folks. So she didn't even announce it on her own show.
I'm not gonna be a stripper.
She told us, so yeah. Just let us know when and where. You know.
When and where. I saw her at the Club 94.
Well, I'm trying to think of any other world. I mean, because like I said, those other worlds. I mean, Gummy Bears. That was another one.
What if they did Lego Movie's not even.
No, Lego's not.
But that'd be so cool.
No, if they could do it, but well, Lego's its own thing, and
that would probably take more money, more rights, more sign-offs.
Maybe they'll do something. Well, they do have deals with Legos, but no, that wouldn't happen. But a world with Toy Story could work.
Yep, Toy Story would be a good one. That's mostly Pixar, but now Pixar and Disney are one and the same.
Yeah, well, if you look at if you look in the code for Kingdom Hearts 2, the reissue, not the reissue. What's the Kingdom Hearts 2.5? Not even 2.5. It was the one that came out in Japan, Final Mix.
Yeah.
Apparently there was code in there that they were supposed to be in the game as summons, and for whatever reason they didn't include them. Yeah, but they included Chicken Little for some reason. Because everybody likes Chicken Little.
Not my favorite, but I do think he's super cute. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to think of what other movies. And there's so many Disney movies. I mean, if it's still in development, I'm wondering if they're including any of the more recent movies, like Zootopia.
That might be. I don't think they're doing Zootopia yet. I think that may be too soon. Unless they don't come out with it this year, unless they wait another year. And I think they're going to wait another year. I don't even know when the release date was supposed to be, if they even gave one.
Well, I'm gonna end it on this one because this just hit me, and I think it would be perfect because you mentioned the Final Fantasy world, and they've kind of avoided adding the Final Fantasy world in there. However, what about a world on Wreck-It Ralph?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Mind blown.
Can you imagine? Because then
I can fix it.
Exactly. They can have the characters there. They can have all the characters from Wreck-It Ralph. They probably can't get the licensed characters.
Yeah.
But they can include like.
They can include at least the main characters like Wreck-It Ralph, Penelope.
Yeah. And but no, they could also put their own characters in there because they have made references.
I could see how that one could be a big memory builder. Like, how can we fix these memories type thing.
Exactly.
But
I see it working. I just
as I said, I'm just worried it'll be too big, and that's my biggest fear because sometimes games can be so big that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh.
Kind of like the Grand Theft Auto games.
So big. So big.
Alrighty, well, we are going to go ahead and conclude the podcast. Don't have any traditional way of doing this because my partner is still gone.
Don't do drugs, stay in school.
Yeah, pretty much.
Play video games.
Play video games, yeah. I would like to give a very special thanks to my guest host, Sarah.
Yes.
And she may be returning for one more episode.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you want to keep the conversation going, go ahead and comment below or email us at crossplatshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. We're on, what's the thing called? iTunes.
iTunes.
Yeah, wow.
Society.
God, just not know about all this stuff. Anyway, so for anyone interested in keeping the conversation going, let us know. I am Maverick. This is
Sarah.
And thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening.